Blue Lock can't seem to stop dropping heat, as we see Blue Lock leveling up yet another gear. But to know more, you will have to wait, but trust me, there's a ton more stuff, so get ready. Alright, so starting off this chapter, also called the true ending, we can see Isagi with the ball while Hugo is to his left. Speaking of Hugo, we get right into his head as he says Isagi's name. He then looks closely at his face and explains that his expression changed. He can sense an immeasurable swell of concentration from him. Hugo then continues as even a bunch of smoke starts to appear behind him. Anyway, he thinks, how in the world did he even manage to intercept the ball just now? He wonders if he determined their attack wouldn't work and tried to get the second ball. Hugo then gets out his metavision eyes and his gears start to spin as he explains that in any case, he is too far to shoot, wondering if he will dribble it up himself or if he will try to make a forward pass to one of those three on the front line. And now an Isagi and Rin link up wouldn't be something that I'm against. After that, Hugo finally gets out of his head and speaks up. He tells Isagi to bring it on, asking him which destiny he will choose, and while Hugo says that, we see Isagi being super fired up and totally absorbed as he first looks dope, but also having his metavision eyes out. But then right in the next panel, we see Isagi, with no hesitation at all, passing the ball to his right. We see Hugo looking to be extremely shocked by that, and not only him, but also Karasu, who was the one who got the ball. He traps it before just saying Isagi's name with a very strange voice. Isagi, however, looks at him super coldly as he tells him to come on and calls him a fellow second best. We then see Gagamaru using his binoculars all the way from the goal as he also sees this and is super confused and shocked. And not to mention just him, but also Aiku, who asks if he is being for real. Lastly, it's Hiyori, who asks if they are cooperating now, wondering if Isagi is planning to join the Karasu-centric system. And with that, we then see a huge crow starting to get built over Isagi's head with his puzzle pieces. Karasu just seems to get a real smirk as he laughs. He then thinks that the Demon King came down to him. Karasu then decides to flirt a tiny bit with Isagi as he tells him that he guesses that he can be cute when he wants to, telling Isagi to go and calling him extraordinary second best. With that, we see Karasu passing the ball to Isagi, who we can see Hugo is trying to stop. But Karasu then gets behind Charles, which lets Isagi send the ball right back to him, completely destroying both of them. We even see Charles, who is totally mind-blown, saying that they did a 1-2 pass. We also have Layden, who tells them to hold up as he asks them what's going on. Lastly, it's Gabin who tells them to make an ad-lib defense, explaining that they need to watch out as they are trying to charge up the center. But then we move to Rin, who looks back, and he seems crushed. He says Isagi's name with a worried tone, explaining that he decided coordinating with Rin himself wasn't working, so he switched over to Karasu. This seems to make him furious as his dead eyes start to come out, and we all know that he sure means business when this happens. He then in his head asks how Isagi dares to try and cut Rin. Anyway, with that, we see that there are a mere 2 extra minutes left in this game, and I could swear that in the last chapter, it was 15 minutes left, and I personally feel like it's going a tiny bit fast. Anyhow, we then see Chigiri from the bench. He screams at them all to get up there. It's not only the goat Chigiri though, as it's also Bachira who tells them that it's their last chance to score. After them, however, we have Natsuki, who screams with his entire lungs, saying that it's only 2 minutes of added time left on the clock, asking if France's kings will run out the clock, or if maybe, just maybe, Blue Lock Japan's challengers will catch up. After that, we head back to Hugo and Isagi, and they are side by side. Hugo tells Isagi that he has been waiting for this. Isagi just looks at him annoyed as he tells him that he chooses his destiny to be his team's dedicated second best. Hugo then just asks him if he understands now why he has tried so hard to guide him and the Japanese team to their true suitability, explaining that his dream is to win the World Cup 4 times. To that end, France needs to fight against strong rivals to keep leveling up. In other words, they need the world's soccer players to follow their destinies. Then in the next panel, we see Hugo looking completely wild as he is almost entirely in his gear form as he tells Japan that they pass, telling Isagi that now they can reach their true ending. In this showdown between teams of perfect suitability, Isagi just seems to be giving him a mean side-eye, but after that, we see the Blue Lock players completely locking in as we have Karasu, who passes the ball to Hiyori. Hiyori, while holding off Camus, passes the ball to Isagi, who in an instant redirects the pass to Otoya, who just had to go and do something extra with his trap as he jumps up and traps it. After that, he gets back and quickly takes a look around the field before he finds the perfect spot, where Karasu is, and sends him a pass. Karasu then does the same as Otoya did as he quickly takes a good look around the field, trying to find the perfect spot to pass to, and it doesn't take long until he finds Isagi and sends him a pass. Isagi looks to be completely locked in with his meta vision as he then sends the ball back to Karasu. Karasu then traps it with the heel of his foot before taking out his hand to fend off any incoming no-names from France. Hiyori on the side sees this and can only describe this as incredible, thinking that just by Isagi coordinating equally with Karasu, Blue Lock is entering a new dimension. After that, we see Karasu completely going wild as he destroys the France team. After that, he gets an intense stare as he tells the Extraordinary that, here it comes. With that, he seems to send a backheel pass to Hiyori, who, honestly, seems to be pretty shocked by this. He thinks that they are switching now and that the goal is 28 yards away, but he then sees Karasu being right ahead of him, once again shoving away the France players for Hiyori, and seeing this makes him believe that he can shoot. He thinks back and notices that this is the chance to make the same shot as before. However, even then, it's far from it, as this time it's an even better chance. He looks at the field from a higher perspective and says that he can pass to Shidu or even Baru, thinking that there are so many scoring possibilities, ending it by saying that Karasu created this optimal situation. Karasu then looks right at him with the coolest but also creepiest smug expression ever as he tells Hiyori to now come on and choose. Hiyori starts to look fired up as he thinks that he already knows which his best option is, but before he seems to be able to execute any of it, we see Hugo going to Baru and blocking him off, while telling Hiyori not to even think about it, as he can crush Baru. Charles just looks super excited as he goes right to Shidu and explains that he can take care of Shidu. Lastly, it's of course the star boy Loki who comes running. He tells them that they may have more options, but in the end, they are nothing but uncoordinated, egotistical rabble, as he says that we see him closing the distance between himself and Hiyori extremely fast. His eyes then get completely dark and absorbed, and he looks demonic as he explains that if they keep him from making individual goals, then he's utterly screwed. We also see Karasu starting to freak out a bit as he sees Loki approaching. Meanwhile, Hiyori is in a shock state, thinking that with Loki, Hugo, and Charles's individual abilities, one snap judgment was enough to coordinate to shut them down. This makes him wonder just what level these guys are on. However, he then tries to throw those thoughts to the side as he looks at the goal, and he knows that all he can do is shoot. But as he looks closer, he tells himself no, thinking that they're ready for a shot like before, so his course is too narrow. This really makes him freak out as he has no idea just what to do. He then thinks that he took too long to decide as Loki comes right by him. Loki looks super cold as he looks right at Hiyori as he tells him that it's game over. But when all hope was lost, we see Isagi in his white state. He comes on Hiyori's left side and screams out his name, which shocks Hiyori. Isagi screams at him to pass and calls him a major sadist. Hiyori, still just in shock, can only say his name, and we then see Hugo in the last panel as we see him with his meta vision out. The next chapter will be called Full Bet, which I can already tell is going to be another insane chapter. It's for sure going to be something with one of the Blue Lock characters going full in on something and hoping that it will work out and will lead to a goal. Now, with that said, I'm a bit unsure whether it's a break week or not, as it's Golden Week next week, so the magazine that Blue Lock is in will be on break, so technically it should be a break week, but I guess that we will just have to wait and see. Anyway, this chapter was honestly so crazy. Like, everything is just hyping me up to the max recently surrounding Blue Lock. Now, what I think will happen is that either Isagi actually gets the pass from Hiyori, or Rin comes and steals it away. But with that said, I think that if it's going to be a goal for Blue Lock next, then it's going to be Rin and no one else. But that's just my theory. And with that out of the way, let me know your thoughts on this chapter. Personally, I would go and give it a pretty decent 7, but let me know your score down below. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel. And while you are at it, leave a comment and a like. Also, if you can, hype the video down below, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day.